Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to the All Angle Sports Investment daily preview show for the 18th of April, Tuesday upcoming. And are you ready for some more Champions League action, Ashley?
Of course I am. You know that's a silly question. I'm ready for any kind of action in this sport. Yeah, looking forward to it. Second legs are always interesting, so we'll see what we got.
Well, what have we got coming up on here? We're going to be talking about Napoli against AC Milan, Real Madrid against Chelsea, and also Ash has got a couple of other plays around the world on Tuesday, which we will talk about that at the end. But really, there's only one place to actually start here, and that is Napoli against AC Milan. I mean, this match last week was pulsating, I thought, and it was a really good watch. It was spicy. It was tight. It was a match which AC Milan managed to find a way to win. And I've seen lots of different opinions about this match heading into the second leg. Napoli are the favourites to win in 90 minutes, as short as minus 150 in places. First of all, Ashley, how do you see this one going in terms of the actual match result overall?
For the result, I don't know. Everyone knows I love Napoli. They have been one of the better teams in Europe, but them not scoring has, to me, become now more of a feature than it is a bug, right? They are having issues. Obviously, Osimhen has been out, and that makes a huge difference. He's the focal point for them scoring goals. So I'm not overreacting to it, but I think it's been, when he's been missing and going to play here, it's still when a main player who makes as much of a difference as he does hasn't been playing the last couple of matches, you still have to wonder if he comes in firing at 100%. I'm going to assume that he goes all out here because Napoli have no chance. But as far as taking aside who wins the over-under, I have no idea. This Napoli team, I'm going to go for a different angle, which you guys will hear in a minute. I'm obviously pulling for Napoli as a Napoli fan, but Milan been struggling in league play, but they've got the experience and they know how to play these important matches and how to close these out. So yeah, me personally, I'm going to avoid an outright winner in this one.
Yeah, I think I am as well. I think the thing I took out of that first leg was that I don't think Napoli are going to be making it through to the semi-finals without Victor Osimhen in some form. Now, the big question is, what do Napoli do with him? I have a feeling they've been saving him for this game. I think he possibly could have featured last week if he had to. He came off the bench at the weekend for 18 minutes. And so I think they'll go with him from the start. But it's one of those, if you're the manager and just say they win by one goal and we're heading to extra time and penalties, you want him on the field for as much as possible. Yeah. So there might be a temptation to start the match without him and then bring him on. And then you've got him for the entirety of the rest of the night. But I think they've got to make a statement, haven't they, and get Osimhen on there early. He's just only Erling Braut Haaland's playing better as a striker in the world anywhere at the minute. So he's the X factor I think they need, because Mike Maignan is doing some wonderful stuff in goal for AC Milan. He looks stupendous. So I think it's going to take something special to beat him.
Yep.
Whether Napoli do it, I don't know. I know someone today that tipped AC Milan on a plus 0.75 Asian handicap, which I thought was quite a ballsy bet. But at the same time, I can get why people want to side with Milan here as well. They've got the experience. Napoli lost their heads in the first match.
Yeah.
7 cards, which, they've been such a clean team all season, but they lost their heads entirely. If I had to give a prediction match-wise, I would say Napoli by 1 goal, and we go to extra time and maybe even penalties. But from a betting perspective, that doesn't interest me. Over-under doesn't interest me, not pre-game. I've got a couple of card plays, which I'm going to talk about soon. But you have got a very juicy play. A same game parlay, a bet builder, as we call it over here. And last week, I came good with a 4-legger. You have taken it to 6 legs here, a 6-way bet builder. I'm going to put it up on the screen now, if I can actually get the graphic right, just for everyone to see it, because there's plenty to discuss there. Victor Osimhen, over 1.5 shots in the match. Over 3.5 shots on target for Napoli. Over 0.5 goals in the game overall. Both teams to be carded effectively. And Kvicha Kvaratskhelia over 1.5 shots in the game. So plenty to sort of mix into here, Ashley. I mean, I almost don't want to talk to you about every single leg of this one, but obviously you're liking Victor Osimhen to come into this team and make an impact.
I like him to make an impact because A, he is the best player on the pitch, and B, they have no choice but to go for it, right? I mean, they're down in aggregate, so they have no choice but to try to score at least a goal. But I think they'll play wide open and maybe try to score more than that. But yeah, I think that even with his, by the way, I want to say hello to Sonny. He and I were chatting before. He's a brilliant guy. I love bouncing ideas off of him, so I'm glad he's watching. I just think, in Napoli, they're a little bit nervy. One player shouldn't make that much of a difference to a team, but it's just obvious. It's just a proven pattern here that Osimhen is that player that makes that much of a difference. So I like shots for Napoli. Do you mind putting it on the screen?
I'm going to put it back on again. I shouldn't have actually got rid of it whilst we're still talking about it, in fairness. There it is. Yeah,
so with Osimhen over 1.5 shots, and you guys just remember, like I always say, a huge difference between shots and shots on target, or some books listed as shots on goal. We're just going for him to have over 1.5 shots here. So it doesn't matter if they're shitty, just as long as they're registered as shots. Over 3.5 shots on target for Napoli. And that just goes hand in hand. I'm not going to belabor the issue. They have no choice but to go for it. And the only way to score is to shoot the ball. And the only way to score is to shoot the ball accurately. So I think they get at least 4 shots on target. 1 goal in the match is all we need for this bet builder. Does not matter which team scores it. I think that each team getting a card here is kind of self-explanatory. We saw the amount of cards last time. And if Milan go up here, Napoli's going to be frustrated. I just think this is going to be kind of a feisty affair. So I would be surprised if both teams don't contribute to the bookings here. And Kvaratskhelia, I like this one. I was trying to find something to put this at a good price, and all 6 of these do get us to -125. So I do love the price of it. He's another one. We just need 2 shots from him. Neither of these shots has to be on target, which I really do love. I think that he's got something to prove too. He's not done well and been able to carry this team at all with Osimhen being out. Hasn't been able to score, hasn't been able to assist or do anything. So I think that our little Georgian gets back in form somewhat here with his counter whatever. I can't think of the word right now, but with his buddy out there, they just play well off of each other. So I say that he gets a little confidence back with Osimhen being on the pitch also. I think it's going to change the way he plays. So getting 2 shots from him, I don't think it's out of the question. So I think it has a really good chance of each of these legs hitting, and already bet it myself, already posted this on Patreon. I love the angle. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, -125. I put the odds up there in decimal just to confuse you American viewers. But it's interesting what Sonny says there, and welcome in, Sonny. Struggle to find value in the game, and I felt exactly the same way. I think the books have priced this matchup brilliantly. I did a huge amount of research into this game last night, and I couldn't find much at all. I like the cards, but the line is too high. The referee is Simon Marciniak, and if that name rings a bell, it's because he refereed the World Cup final. So since then, he's only been seen in the Porto against Inter match outside of his own domestic league. He dished 4 cards in that game, and he's going to dish some cards here. It's just a question of how many. I don't think the problem last week was that the referee just let everything go for 35 minutes, and it didn't work out. He lost control of the match. I think this referee will give a yellow early to stamp his authority on the game, and I think the players might respond to that. So that is why I've looked into individual card bets for this one myself. There's two guys I'm going with. I'm going with Rada Krunic and Theo Hernandez. Krunic, I've not a clue how he didn't get booked in the first leg. Two of his challenges were horrific. I mean, it was unbelievable. The referee let him get away with murder. And the simple fact is I actually don't think he's that great a player. But he's just done really well to get himself into this team. He does a lot of different things. He makes self-sacrifices really well, and I think every team sometimes needs someone like that, don't they? So fundamentally, I think he's going to struggle against the quality of this Napoli midfield. If he challenges like he did in that first leg, he will get in the book here. I'm a little bit concerned. One booking here would make him miss the first leg of a semi-final, but he can't be thinking of that. You just got to get the team through to the semi-final. So I think,
right,
yeah, plus 275, that stood out to me. He does average one card every 2 games, by the way, in the matches he's played this year. So he's a regular getter of cards. The other one, I'm going with Theo Hernandez. Now, this guy has an incredible habit of somehow avoiding the book. I don't know how he does. He must talk a very good game, I think, on the field. It's actually a price which I think I've got that wrong. It's actually not plus. It's plus 220. I need to edit that. But Theo Hernandez is someone who, in a big match like this, I think will take one for the team. If he gets booked, he's not going to miss the semi-final. And again, you watch him in that first match. I think he was lucky, really, not to go in that referee's book. I think I could see him doing something really cynical here to make sure, or try and make sure Milan go through. So, I mean, you could pick any number of players in this match, to be honest. Ashley, we were talking off air about one of the lads that you fancied, but you're probably looking about maybe 5 or 6 players do get carded. So it's just take your pick, who you fancy to play dirty here. Two prices there. Here you go.
Yeah, those are great prices. You guys know that's not a market that I study, even though I'm trying to branch out a little bit. Still not really branched out into this, but I do know that Benacer, I always see his name with a little yellow card beside it, so might sprinkle him. But yeah, the Hernandez here, I like that look. I know he's a feisty player, and yeah, I don't know. I'll be surprised if this isn't a feisty type of match, right? 1-0. Napoli's been sucking. Just everything lends to just them having to go for it. AC Milan have the upper hand the last couple of times they've played Napoli, so I could see some sparks flying in this one.
Hannah says, great angles on this match despite the lines being wrapped so tight. Well, yeah, we are all angle sports invested in, aren't we, Hannah? But you're absolutely right. This is the sort of game where the books are sharp, and you've got to expect that. This is the Champions League quarterfinals. These are the hardest games to make money on. It's as simple as that. It's far easier to make money on, a Norwegian Obos-ligaen or Dutch second division game. It just is. Right. So if you can cane it in these big games, then you're doing something right in life. That's how I always say. So, but yeah, tough game with the books. I'm going to go for a Napoli 1-goal win. What's your prediction outright, Ashley?
Oh man,
you'll find I do this to you quite a few times.
I'm just going to say what I can see. There being value in taking this to extra time. I can see Napoli forcing this one to go to extra time. So that's what I'm going to be hoping for. So I'll just say that Napoli score in some capacity and force this team to go past the 90 minutes. So Joel asking more goals in the second half. I'll let Steve give his opinion about that, Joel, because to me, that's just what I'm saying. I think I could see this game busting open with Napoli having to go for it. Also has the issue of leaving them open at the back for Milan to attack. So I can even see a first half goal here. I'm not going to bet it because this is just there's so much volatility of how this match can go. So yeah, I won't be taking that. I'll let Steve give his opinion on that.
It all depends on the game state for me. If it's 0-0 at half time, obviously you'd be laughing there. But if Napoli are leading by 1 goal at half time, say it's 1-0, doesn't mean the match will necessarily go open. So it's all on the game state. And it's just a question of how you see that first half panning out, really, Joe. If you think Milan, might keep it tight and it's 0-0, then by all means, go for that. It's a difficult one. It's such a difficult one, that is. But it's an intriguing game. I'm actually really excited for this game. Actually, I really am excited for it. But the books have been really sharp. So fair play to them. We've got to give them some credit sometimes, the books. We don't like them, but we've got to give them some credit sometimes. Okay. Brian, welcome in. Napoli straight up, he says. Why not? I mean, they're backable straight on the line, on the money line there.
If they have Victor Osimhen back and he's in top form, comes out firing the way that Napoli had been for 90% of their matches in the last few months, then that's definitely worth a shot.
Right, Chelsea against Real Madrid. Now, neither of us actually have any plays in this game at all, but it's such a big, high-profile match. It's only fair that we do talk about this one. Real Madrid with a 2-0 advantage, of course. They're the favourites to win the second leg, plus 148. Chelsea, if you're fancying a bit of them, I'm not sure why many would at the moment, plus 200. And the draw is at plus 264. So, I think Real Madrid will certainly make it through. Quite in what fashion, I'm not entirely sure. Ashley, how do you think this match is going to go on the night? It's hard one, isn't it?
I made money on Madrid in the first leg, but I am hesitant, a little bit more cautious in these second legs. Not if it's tied on aggregate or something like that, but when you have a team like Madrid being up here and they don't have to even try to score, I wouldn't be surprised if they score. I think Madrid are just a much more informed team than Chelsea. This conglomeration of players on this Madrid team have so much European experience that I don't think it's bad value to go for them here. Chelsea are just a putrid team right now. But yeah, I take the cautious approach and back off when they're up a couple of goals and just don't have to go for it. I may look into this one later and maybe look to take like Vinny Jr. and Benzema shots in some capacity, but that will be a live play for me. I'm pulling for Madrid, and I will be very shocked actually, if Chelsea even pushes this where Madrid just isn't qualified at the end of 90 minutes.
This was a tweet that I retweeted this morning, and look at this: like Frank Lampard's last 10 games as Chelsea manager. Won 2, drawn 1, lost 7. And there was some other stat about his last, I think, 17 games in management as well, or something. It was something ridiculous. So, I mean, I think he's kind of lost the dressing room a little bit already, even though he's only just got into the club. I don't think they have much respect for him here at Chelsea. By all means, I think some of the players didn't even have that much respect for Graham Potter in the end. So they're a mess of a club. They just are. I don't see how they get anything here. Even if they win on the night, then they'll probably go out. But I don't see them winning on the night. But Real don't have to win.
Right.
That's the other thing. Real don't have to win the game. And I hate teams that don't have to win.
Yeah, exactly. And when it comes to where it's multiple legs like this, if a team just like Man City, they go in there and batter Bayern, right? You still have to pay attention to the second legs because it's not as simple as a one-off, right? Like this is just the one match decides it all. That you have to be strategic because Man City are obviously the better team than Bayern. Real Madrid are obviously the far superior team to Chelsea right now, but you do have to take into, do they sit back? They don't have to go for it. So they can be tricky. And I'll probably actually look at a way to take a couple of Chelsea players to get shots here because speaking of them being down, just like Napoli, they have to go for it. So, look for the teams that you think has to go out and attack. And Madrid are deadly on the counter. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see Madrid score on the counter here with Chelsea, maybe leaving some spaces open in the back. But I think looking for teams that have to go for it, looking for the shots angle is a way I like to approach those sometimes.
the two things I was looking at here, I was looking at João Felix shots. He's just someone who always seems to fire in attempts, even if they're not very good attempts. Although he did have one on target, didn't he, in Madrid, I do believe, early doors. But yeah, so I think his shot line something like 2.5, knocking on 3.5 in places. So it's dubious. And then I was looking at Chelsea cards, over 2.5 cards for Chelsea, which I took in the first leg and he lost. It is plus money, but the referee for this game is a referee I cannot stand getting involved in. Orsato, the Italian referee, I can never work him out at all. He tends to have a relatively low card count, but he can have games where he just loses control completely. So I don't know. I can't work him out at all. So I'm happy to leave this game alone, to be honest with you, Ashley. Chelsea have got to swing in some fashion now, haven't they? Whether it be in terms of like doing stupid things or at least firing attempts. I can't believe that this is their last game of the season. Else, I mean, they've got nothing else to play for in the league.
Right.
Their whole season's on now. So
right.
Use that to your advantage if you are thinking about betting it in before the game or in running. And I think
it was on here for the free play for my treble. I had Felix over 1.5 shots, and I think he did end with exactly 2. So we did hit that treble. I may look at him shots wise too, but this is definitely one where I will, if I take anything pre-match, it's going to be player shots. And if I'm looking at goals or anything, I'm going to be watching the in-game metrics, which is what I love to do anyway. So I might make a live play on a side or a total here or something.
Angelo says Chelsea versus Real Madrid, both teams to score. I'm not sure actually what price that is. I can find out. But I'll be honest, that wasn't completely on my radar because I just don't trust Chelsea at the moment. -132. But I suppose they've got to go swinging, haven't they? They've got to have a go here in some form. Who can score for Chelsea? They just, I wouldn't trust anyone.
Yeah, that's the thing. I could see that where Angelo's coming from because, like we've been saying, Chelsea, they have to go for it. The question is, do you trust them to be able to finish those chances? They've got talent. There's no denying that. So it's for Chelsea to score, it's not like it takes some miracle.
No, it's not a miracle.
Yeah, they have the players to do it. But yeah, I'm just someone who doesn't want to, as they say, like try to catch a falling knife. I want to bet on teams that are in form and not hoping that they will be. So yeah, I'm just not going to count personally on Chelsea scoring here. But I do see where you're coming from.
All right, we're going to move away from the Champions League now. You've got a double around the world here that you're going to talk about. A European double, actually. And this is Ipswich Town team total over 1.5 goals against Port Vale. And then an over 2 goals selection in a Turkish game. Karagümrük against Umraniyespor.
Hey, not bad. I was waiting to hear you pronounce those. Even when you butcher it with a British accent, though, it sounds okay. So yeah.
I know you've got you lived out there once, didn't you? So you're very good with these ones.
Lived out where?
In Turkey. So you
Hell no, I lived in Greece. Don't you?
Greece, sorry. You're close enough to know that pronunciations a lot better than I would.
Don't confuse that. Greece, one of the most beautiful countries in the world.
Anyway, -125 then. So 2 games to talk us through here, and why you like it.
Well, I like this because Ipswich is just a team. We'll talk about this one first. I've been making money on them. They're just on fire right now as far as outright winning. They've been doing awesome, but scoring goals. They're not just winning like 1-0. So that's why I've really been liking to ride their team totals here. They are at home here. They average 2.48 goals scored at home. They have scored at least 2 in their last 5 matches at home. And that's as far as I went back, as far as I ever go back is 5. So it may even be a longer streak than that. Port Vale on the road have conceded at least 2 in their last 5 on the road. So I just think with Ipswich current form, the stats that both of these teams have in home and away splits, Ipswich coming into this with tons of confidence. I would be very surprised if they don't put up 2. So just need 2 goals from them. As far as this Karagümrük match, this is this team, it really doesn't even matter to me who they're playing. I do think that this Sport team can contribute to the total, but I kind of would think Karagumruk can put up 2 on their own. So I just look for anytime Karagumruk they're playing. I play them on Patreon a lot. I've turned my Patreon folks onto this team. I just really like them for goals. I don't take them to win, even though they're a very good side. But they're just typically goals involved when they play. I like this as a single. I wanted to play over 2.75, so I probably will try to grab a 2.5 or 2.75 live. But the over 3 is juiced right now. So, yeah, this is the best way I could find that at a decent price and playing it pre-match. So 2 goals here gets us a push, which you guys know I love. And I think we see 3 goals here, obviously. So as far as head-to-head, in the last 6 of these head-to-head, there has been at least 2 goals. Most of them have been over 2 goals, right? But the worst we would do in the last 6 head-to-head here with this 2 is push. So, yeah, the fact that Karagumruk, I've been riding them the last couple of months for overs, and they've been treating me very well. I think there's, yeah, very good chance we see at least 2. A very, very good chance we see more than that.
Yeah, I'm just looking actually at the Turkish league table now. Karagumruk have the most over 2.5 goal games out of any team. Their matches average 3.9 goals per game, which is the most out of any team. So this is a team to watch for entertainment in Turkey. This league has actually finally had a bit more normality about it again this season. There's been some weird winners of this league. Trabzonspor won it last year at a canter. I think Istanbul Basaksehir won it as well in the last 2 or 3 years. Traditionally, of course, but Galatasaray, Fenerbahce, Besiktas, the main teams, and they're up there in the top 3 this year. Galatasaray with a 6-point cushion. And we've got a little bonus play for you here to finish the show off with. Here's the Galatasaray match against Alanyaspor, going with a goal scorer, Mauro Icardi at plus 110. Here, actually, I don't follow this league. There was a time I followed it around January and I kept losing in it, but since then I've not really been following it. But I'm guessing Icardi's been in form.
Yeah, I took him, I believe, in their last match, and he scored for me. He's kind of a sneaky good player, Brazilian. I'm pretty sure. I like taking him in certain spots. I like Galatasaray. Typically, when I take scores, I like them to be at home. They are on the road here, but yeah, I think plus 110. I would take even a minus 110 on him. I'd probably play this one just like half a unit, not a full unit. But yeah, just in great form. Galatasaray as a team are in great form right now. So yeah, I love him as kind of my obscure goal scorer. I'm not going to take any Champions League goal scorers just for all the reasons I've already, beaten like a dead horse. Just don't know what to expect. But I do like this guy to score for Galatasaray. Definitely value at plus money.
In form, scored a hat-trick in his last game. He scored in other games recently as well. Yeah, it looks like they're heading towards the title. I personally hope Fenerbahce win the title. I can't stand Galatasaray, one of my most hated teams in the whole world. But hopefully this one cashes for you.
Hopefully.
Actually. Yeah, Mauro Icardi at plus 110. Does look quite a big price for someone who's hitting the back of the net very, very regularly. Okay, I think that will do it for this show. We're going to be back.
Yeah, Joao corrected me, so my apologies. I guess Icardi's Italian, but Joao's Brazilian. That's what I meant, Joao. Yeah. Whatever nationality he is, just take him to score.
I actually thought Joao was Portuguese.
Yeah, but Brazilian Portuguese.
I know. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that will do for Tuesday's show. I've probably got rid of any Galatasaray subscribers that we had on this channel by saying what I just said. But we move on to Wednesday tomorrow. We'll be doing tomorrow's show. Bayern Munich against Man City and Inter against Benfica and whatever else is going on around the world. I know there's one Norwegian game which I might talk about, although that league hasn't been treating me well recently. But yeah, appreciate you as always, Ashley. Good luck with all your plays for Tuesday. And we'll be back again tomorrow, everyone. So take care, y'all. Cash those winners. Good luck.
Yes. See you guys tomorrow.